Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm Emily, and today we're talking about something every learner faces. You spend hours memorizing words, grammar rules, and examples. You highlight, repeat, and review. But when it's time to speak, your mind goes blank. Sound familiar? You know the words, but they don't come out when you need them. That's frustrating, right? I've seen this happen so many times. Smart, hardworking learners stuck in silence. The truth is, fluency doesn't come from memorizing. It comes from using what you already know. Today, we're going to explore why memorizing doesn't help you speak and what to do instead. By the end of this episode, you'll have simple daily steps to start speaking with confidence. So, get comfortable, take a deep breath, and let's dive in. This might be the mindset shift your English journey has been waiting for. Let's start with something we all do when learning a new language: memorizing. You open your notebook, write lists of new words, maybe color code them, and repeat again and again. It feels productive, right? Like you're filling your brain with knowledge. But then comes the real test: a conversation. Someone asks you a simple question, and suddenly your mind goes blank. You try to remember the words, but they hide somewhere in your head. You know them, but they just won't come out. That's the problem with memorization. It creates knowledge, but not connection. Your brain stores each word like a separate puzzle piece. But when you need to build a picture, you can't find the right pieces fast enough. I remember a student named Leo. He was amazing at memorizing. He had dozens of notebooks full of words. But when he traveled to London and tried to order coffee, he froze. Not because he didn't know the words coffee or milk. He knew hundreds of words like that, but because his brain never practiced using them together. That's what happens when learning is passive. Memorizing words is like collecting tools you never use. They look good in your toolbox, but when it's time to fix something, you don't know which one to grab. Real speaking is different. It's messy, spontaneous, and full of mistakes. You don't have time to think about grammar or perfect word order. You just have to speak. That's when your brain starts to connect ideas naturally. When you speak, you're training your mind to find words faster, to react, to build patterns. It's like muscle memory. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. Memorization might give you knowledge, but speaking gives you skill. Think of it this way: you can read 10 books about swimming, but until you jump into the water, you don't really know how to swim. Language works the same way. You can't think your way to fluency. You have to speak your way there. Many learners say, "But Emily, I'm afraid to speak because I might make mistakes." And I get that. Mistakes feel uncomfortable, but silence doesn't teach you anything. When you stay silent, you keep knowledge in your head. When you speak, you turn knowledge into experience. That's where confidence comes from. Not perfection, but practice. I often tell my students, stop waiting until you know enough to speak. You already know enough to start. The goal isn't to be perfect. The goal is to be understood. When you focus on using the words you already know, something amazing happens. You start thinking in English without realizing it. You build fluency one sentence at a time, and little by little, the wall between knowing and speaking begins to disappear. So here's the truth: memorization isn't bad, but it's only step one. It helps you recognize words, not use them. The real progress starts when you open your mouth. Every time you speak, even for a minute, you train your brain to connect thought and language. Every mistake is a small victory, proof that you're growing. So next time you catch yourself memorizing another long list of words, pause for a second. Ask yourself, how can I use these words today? Because language isn't a collection of words. It's a living, breathing tool for connection. And the sooner you start using it, the sooner it becomes part of you. Now let's talk about something that holds so many learners back: the fear of making mistakes. You know that feeling, right? You start to speak, but your brain whispers, what if I'm wrong? What if people laugh at me? Ah, what if I sound silly? And just like that, You stop yourself before even trying. This fear of being wrong is one of the biggest barriers to speaking English. I used to have a student named Hannah. She studied hard, knew every grammar rule, and had a great accent. But when she had to speak, she froze. She told me, "Emily, I can't open my mouth. I keep thinking about the mistakes I might make." That constant self-checking turned every sentence into a battle. Instead of enjoying communication, she was fighting perfection. Here's the truth. Perfection doesn't exist in language. Even native speakers make grammar mistakes every single day. They mix tenses, forget words, and start sentences they don't finish. But they keep talking because communication matters more than correctness. When you focus too much on grammar, you silence your natural voice. You stop speaking from your heart and start speaking from fear. And fear is a terrible teacher. It doesn't let you learn. It only reminds you of what you don't know. Let me tell you something important. Fluency is not about avoiding mistakes. It's about recovering from them quickly. Good speakers don't speak perfectly. They keep going even when they stumble. That's what makes their English sound natural and confident. Think about little kids learning their first language. They make thousands of mistakes, but they don't care. They laugh, repeat, and try again. And that's exactly why they learn so fast. Because they are fearless. Adults, on the other hand, carry pressure. We want to sound smart. We want people to respect our effort. But that same pressure stops us from practicing the way children do. So, here's the mindset shift you need. Stop chasing perfection. Start chasing progress. When you allow yourself to make mistakes, you create space for growth. You give your brain permission to explore new ways of expressing ideas. Every time you speak, you're collecting real-life feedback. Not from a textbook, but from experience. That's how true learning happens. I once asked Hannah to do a small challenge. For 1 week, she had to speak English every day, even if she made 20 mistakes. By the end of the week, something changed. She told me, "I stopped worrying about every little thing. Now I actually enjoy speaking." Her voice was lighter, more natural, full of energy. That's the magic of speaking without fear. The moment you stop judging yourself, your brain starts to relax. You find words faster, your pronunciation improves, your sentences flow better. Because confidence comes from action, not perfection. Let's be honest, no one is keeping score of your grammar. Most native speakers don't even notice small mistakes. They care about what you mean, not how perfect your sentence is. They listen for connection, not accuracy. So, the next time you hesitate, remember this. The goal of language is not to impress people. It's to express yourself. Your accent, your pauses, even your errors, they are all part of your unique voice. And that voice deserves to be heard. You don't need to speak perfectly to be understood. You just need to speak bravely. Start small. Make a few mistakes. Laugh about them. Every word you say is proof that you're learning, that you're growing, that you're trying. And that's what really matters. So, take a deep breath, let go of the fear, and speak. Not perfectly, just honestly, courageously, and from the heart. Let's talk about something powerful. Speaking is the real key to fluency. You can study for years, memorize thousands of words, and still feel stuck. But the moment you start speaking, everything changes. Speaking is active. It wakes up your brain. When you speak, you have to recall words, form sentences, and express ideas, all in real time. That's how your brain learns to think in English, not just translate from your native language. I had a student named Marco. He used to say, "Emily, I understand everything I read, but I can't speak at all." So we tried something simple, 5 minutes of speaking every day. At first he stumbled, paused, repeated himself, but within a few weeks his sentences started to flow. He wasn't perfect, but he was communicating, and that changed everything. You see, fluency doesn't come from knowing about English. It comes from using English. It's like learning to play the guitar. You can watch videos, read music theory, even memorize the chords. But until you pick up the guitar and play, you're not really learning. The same goes for language. Your brain needs to experience it, not just study it. Every time you speak, you're training your mouth, your ears, and your mind to work together. That's what builds fluency. And here's the best part. When you speak more, you start to connect ideas automatically. Grammar stops being a rule book and becomes instinct. You stop thinking, is this correct? And start thinking, does this sound natural? That's the moment your English starts to flow. Speaking also helps with listening. When you practice forming sentences, you start recognizing patterns when others speak. You notice how words link together, how tone changes meaning, how rhythm affects clarity. It's all connected: speaking, listening, thinking. Now let's talk about another benefit: confidence. When you speak often, you stop being afraid of mistakes. You realize that people understand you even when you're not perfect. That's a huge relief. It's like stepping into a room with the lights on instead of in the dark. Confidence doesn't come first. It comes after you act. Every word you speak adds a little more courage. And that courage builds momentum. I remember Marco's message after 1 month. He said, I finally talked to my colleague in English. It wasn't perfect, but it felt natural. That's fluency. Not speaking perfectly, but speaking freely. So, what happens in your brain when you speak regularly? You create neural connections. Your brain starts linking vocabulary, grammar, and pronunciation automatically. The more you speak, the stronger those links become. It's like building a road. The more you drive on it, the smoother it gets. That's why speaking is like exercise. If you only read about running, you won't get fit. But if you run every day, even for 10 minutes, you'll see real progress. Language learning works exactly the same way. And here's something amazing. When you start speaking, your motivation grows too. You hear yourself improving, you feel capable. That small sense of progress fuels your desire to keep going. That's how consistency is born, not from pressure, but from results. So, if you're still waiting for the perfect time to start speaking, this is it. You already have enough words, enough knowledge. The only thing missing is practice. Start small. Talk to yourself, record your voice, repeat after videos. Don't wait for confidence to show up. Build it through action. Because fluency isn't a destination, it's a habit. And every time you speak, you're one step closer to making English a natural part of your life. Let's move on to some of the biggest myths that stop people from speaking English. These beliefs sound innocent, but they hold you back more than you realize. They keep you stuck in study mode when you should be in speaking mode. Myth number 1: I need to know more words before I can speak. This one traps so many learners. They think fluency comes from vocabulary lists, so they keep collecting words like trophies. But the truth is, you don't need thousands of words to start a conversation. Even with 300 to 500 basic words, you can express most daily ideas. You can order food, describe your day, talk about your plans, and share your opinions. The magic happens when you use what you already know. Speaking helps those words stick. They stop being words on paper and become words you can actually use. I once met a learner named Jin. He spent months memorizing advanced vocabulary, words like meticulous and perseverance. But when someone asked him, "How was your weekend?" he froze. Why? Because he never practiced using simple real-life English. So we started small. Every day, he had to use 5 basic words in real sentences. After 2 weeks, he said, I finally feel like I can speak. It wasn't about big words. It was about using small words naturally. Myth number 2: I'll start speaking when my grammar is perfect. Oh, this one is dangerous. Grammar is important, of course, but waiting for perfection means you'll wait forever. Even native speakers make grammar mistakes every single day. The difference is they don't stop to correct themselves every 5 seconds. They just keep going. Real communication isn't about flawless sentences, it's about connection. I remember recording a video with a British teacher once. He accidentally said, "There's many people here," instead of, "There are many people." He laughed and said, "See, we all make mistakes." No one cared because everyone understood what he meant. That's what matters. When you speak, your goal isn't to show perfect grammar. It's to share your ideas, your personality, your story. If you wait for perfect grammar, you'll never build confidence. You'll be stuck in endless preparation mode. So don't aim for perfect grammar. Aim for real communication. Myth number 3. I'll speak when I stop making mistakes. Let's be honest, that moment will never come. Mistakes aren't a sign of failure, they're signs of progress. Each mistake teaches you something new. If you're not making mistakes, you're not learning anything new. Fluency grows from the courage to try, not the desire to be perfect. I had another student, Rena, who refused to join conversations. She said, "I'll join when I stop making errors." But we both knew that day would never come unless she started speaking. So I challenged her to make at least 10 mistakes a day. At first, she laughed, but soon it became a game. She'd come back and say, "Emily, I made 12 mistakes today, and it felt great." That mindset changed everything. When mistakes become your teachers, not your enemies, you start growing faster than ever. So, let's destroy these myths right now. You don't need more words. You need more practice. You don't need perfect grammar. You need real conversations. You don't need to avoid mistakes. You need to make them proudly. Speaking English is not about showing how smart you are. It's about connecting, sharing, and expressing who you are. Every time you speak, even imperfectly, you're becoming a better communicator. And that's the whole point of language: connection, not perfection. So next time you catch yourself thinking, "I'm not ready yet," stop and smile. You are ready. The only thing you need to do is open your mouth and start. Because the sooner you speak, the sooner you'll discover how much you already can. Let me tell you some real stories. Because sometimes hearing how others overcome fear can inspire us more than any rule book. I want to start with Armen. When I first met him, he had been studying English for 4 years. He knew so much grammar, thousands of words, and could write beautiful essays. But when he had to speak, especially in real situations, he froze. He once told me about a job interview that went wrong. He said, "I knew the answer in my head, but the words didn't come out." It was painful for him because he worked so hard but couldn't show what he knew. So we made one simple change. Instead of spending hours memorizing, Armin began speaking for just 15 minutes a day. No pressure, no audience, just him, his phone, and his voice. He talked about what he did, how he felt, what he planned for tomorrow. In the beginning, he stumbled and hesitated, but after a few weeks, something amazing happened. He said, "Now when I talk, the words come faster. I still make mistakes, but I don't freeze anymore." That's when he realized fluency isn't about knowing more, it's about using what you already know. Then there's Maria from Brazil. She was passionate about English, but terrified of speaking. She used to say, "My accent is bad, people will judge me." She avoided conversations and focused only on grammar drills. But deep down, she wanted to sound confident and free. One day, she joined an online English conversation group. The first time she barely spoke. She just listened and smiled nervously. But the second time, she said one sentence. The third time, she spoke for 2 minutes. After a few weeks, she sent me a message. "Emily, I finally enjoy speaking. I don't wait for the perfect sentence anymore." That's the turning point for many learners, when they stop chasing perfection and start enjoying communication. Because that's what language is for: connection, not correctness. Both Armin and Maria had the same realization. Fluency didn't come from books or apps. It came from small, consistent action. A few minutes a day changed everything. When you speak regularly, your brain adapts. It builds connections between thought and sound. It learns to find the right words faster and express them more naturally. And the fear starts to fade because speaking becomes normal, not scary. I've seen this transformation countless times. Students who once whispered their words now speak with laughter and ease. It's not because they suddenly became fluent overnight. It's because they stopped hiding behind notebooks. They started using their voices. Imperfect, beautiful human voices. And maybe that's the secret no one tells you. You don't need to feel ready to speak. You just need to start. Confidence doesn't come before action. It grows because of it. Every time you speak, you're building courage. Every conversation, every mistake, every small success adds up. Soon you'll realize you're speaking more naturally than you ever imagined. So, if you've ever felt like Armin, frozen, or like Maria, afraid, remember, you are not alone. Every English learner goes through this phase, but you can change it, one sentence at a time. Start small, speak a little every day. Talk to yourself, record your voice, join a group, or chat with a friend. Don't wait for the right time. The right time is now. Fluency isn't built in silence. It's built through voice. Your voice. And the more you use it, the stronger it becomes. So take a deep breath, open your mouth, and start speaking, just like Armin and Maria did, because your words deserve to be heard. Now that we've heard those inspiring stories, let's talk about how you can start speaking every day. Because fluency doesn't come from wishing, it comes from doing. And the good news? You don't need to live in an English-speaking country to practice. Let's start with the simplest method, talking to yourself. Yes, it might sound strange, but it's one of the most powerful ways to build fluency. You can describe what you're doing. I'm making coffee. I'm walking to work. You can talk about your plans. I'm going to meet my friend later. When you speak to yourself, you train your brain to think in English. It turns English from something you study into something you use. Here's a tip. Don't try to sound perfect. Just speak naturally, like you're narrating your day. Imagine you're your own English commentator. It's a fun, pressure-free way to practice anywhere, anytime. Another great habit is keeping a spoken diary. At the end of the day, talk for 1 or 2 minutes about what happened. For example, today I went to the park. It was sunny. I met a friend and we had ice cream. This simple exercise helps you review daily events while strengthening memory and structure. Next, let's talk about recording yourself. Open the voice memo app on your phone and record short clips in English. Choose a small topic, like your favorite movie or something you learned today. Then listen back. Hearing your own voice might feel weird at first, but it's incredibly useful. You'll notice your pronunciation, your rhythm, and where you hesitate. And over time, you'll hear your progress. That's one of the best motivators. Another powerful technique is called shadowing. It's when you listen to a native speaker, maybe from a podcast, video, or movie, and repeat what they say almost at the same time. This helps with fluency, pronunciation, and even intonation. At first, it might feel fast, but even 5 minutes a day makes a difference. You'll start picking up the natural rhythm of English, the way words connect, and the melody of real conversation. Now, if you want to practice with real people, technology makes it so easy. There are amazing language exchange apps like HelloTalk, Tandem, or Speaky. You can chat or call with learners around the world who want to practice English too. It's free, it's friendly, and it helps you realize that everyone makes mistakes, not just you. If you prefer structure, try finding a tutor or speaking partner online. Websites like Italki or Preply offer short, flexible sessions where you can talk about anything. Even one 30-minute chat per week can make a big difference. And don't forget about group classes or speaking clubs. Many local libraries or online communities host free conversation sessions. You can meet new people, practice casual English, and learn from real interactions. It's not about being perfect, it's about connecting and growing together. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Emily, that sounds like a lot. But here's the thing, you don't have to do everything. Pick one or two methods that feel right for you. Maybe you start by talking to yourself in the morning. Then, once a week, record your voice or join a group chat. The key is consistency. Even 5 to 10 minutes of speaking a day can change everything. Fluency is built from small daily actions, not big, rare efforts. It's like watering a plant. You don't pour a bucket once a month. You water it a little every day. So here's your reminder. Start small, stay consistent, and keep speaking. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Create your own opportunities to use English daily. Because the more you speak, the more natural it becomes. And soon you won't have to think about speaking English. You'll just do it, effortlessly, confidently, and joyfully. Now that you know how to practice speaking every day, let's talk about the tools and challenges that can make your journey more exciting. Because sometimes a little structure can keep your motivation alive. Let's start with tools. There are so many great apps that can help you practice speaking, even when you're alone. One of my favorites is Elsa Speak. It uses AI to analyze your pronunciation and gives feedback in real time. You say a sentence, and it shows exactly which sounds you can improve. It's like having a private pronunciation coach in your pocket. Another great option is YouTube. There are fantastic channels for speaking and shadowing practice. Channels like English with Lucy or Speak English with Mr. Duncan are full of energy and examples. You can listen, repeat, and copy how native speakers move their mouth and voice. It's simple, but incredibly effective. And don't forget, your phone already has one of the best tools, the voice recorder. You don't need fancy software. Record yourself talking for a few minutes each day. Keep those recordings and listen again a month later. You'll be surprised at how much progress you've made. Now, if you like learning with others, join online conversation platforms. Apps like HelloTalk, Tandem, and Speaky connect you with real people around the world. You can exchange languages. You teach them yours. They help you with English. It's a fun human way to practice without pressure. But let's be honest, even with all these tools, you still need consistency. That's why I created something called the 5-Minute Speaking Challenge. It's simple, powerful, and anyone can do it. Here's how it works. Every day, speak English out loud for just 5 minutes. That's it. No grammar drills, no memorizing lists, just speaking. You can talk about anything. Your morning routine, what you ate for lunch, something funny you saw online. It doesn't matter. What matters is that you're using your voice. 5 minutes may sound short, but it's enough to build a habit. Because small daily actions always beat big, occasional efforts. And the best part, you can do it anywhere. In the shower, while walking, cooking, or before bed. Turn your daily moments into language practice. If you're not sure what to talk about, here are some ideas. Describe your day from start to finish. Talk about your favorite childhood memory. Imagine you're giving a weather report or explaining your dream vacation. The topic doesn't matter. What matters is that you keep your mouth moving. Some learners like to make it a game. They set a timer for 5 minutes, hit record, and challenge themselves to speak nonstop. No pauses, no fear, just flow. At first, it feels awkward, but soon, you'll start to enjoy it. It's your moment to speak freely, no one judging, no one correcting. And here's the real magic. After a few weeks, you'll notice a change. Your words will come faster. Your sentences will sound smoother. You'll stop translating in your head and start thinking in English. That's the power of consistent speaking. Now let's talk about mindset. When you take on this challenge, remember, it's not about perfection. You will make mistakes. You will forget words. That's okay. The goal is to build courage and fluency, not flawless grammar. So, are you ready to take the challenge? Start today. Set your timer for 5 minutes and speak. No excuses, No waiting for the perfect moment, because every time you speak, you're one step closer to real confidence. Remember this: fluency grows through action, not from knowing, but from doing. So grab your phone, open your voice recorder, and start your 5-minute journey today. You've got this. Before we wrap up, I want you to remember one thing: fluency is not a destination, it's a journey. Some days you'll speak easily, other days you'll struggle, and that's okay. Every word you say, every mistake you make, is part of your growth. Don't compare yourself to others. Your progress is your own story. Be patient, be kind to yourself, and keep going. The secret to confidence is not perfection, it's persistence. If you speak a little every day, your English will grow stronger, naturally and effortlessly. So take a deep breath, trust your voice, and keep speaking, because your words matter. They connect you, express you, and show the world who you are. Thank you for listening, and remember, keep speaking, keep learning, and never give up.